It's late Christmas Eve, and my date, Dave and I, are driving home from a party over the Golden Gate Bridge. Dave's tapping his fingers in time with the music. I just love Jingle Bell Rock. Great. It's a beautiful night, and behind us the city lights are twinkling, and up above the bridge towers are so majestic. And then up ahead, there's a police car blocking our lane. And this policeman motions for us to move over to the left, so we slow to a crawl, and with some other cars we move over to the left lane. And we're pretty much at a stop, and Dave leans over me to look out the window. Christ, there's a bunch of people gathered at the railing. Do you think somebody jumped? Hey Dave, can we turn the heat up? It's a little chilly in here. Oh, sure. Wow. Can you imagine doing something like that? And on Christmas Eve. Hey Dave, can we change the subject? You know, it's been such a lovely evening, and I'd kind of like to keep the festive spirit going. Oh, sure. I've been dating Dave for 3 months now, and he's a good guy. I mean, I can talk to him about things, but I haven't told him. I mean, it's a risk. You don't know how people are going to take it. You know, how do you decide to who and when to tell your deepest, darkest secret? I mean, is there an app for this? I'm standing on the edge of the roof decades earlier, and I feel the breeze on my face and in my hair. I can hear the leaves rustling in the orchard. I can smell the ripening fruit. Peaches. And I know I did the right thing by coming up here. And I mean, I think of that old song. When this old world starts getting me down, and people are just too much for me to bear up on the roof. And I'm 22, and I'm about to step into my future, the great unknown. And I take another breath, and then I dive off the roof. Now, they say that when you know you're going to die, that your life flashes before your eyes. But when you dive off a one-story building, there isn't a lot of time for that. And I mean, up until now, my biggest fear hasn't been, is this going to hurt? It's been, am I going to go to heaven or to hell? I mean, is suicide an unforgivable mortal sin, or a legitimate way out of my unbearable existence? I feel cold concrete under me, and somebody's slapping my face. Okay, Toni, time to come back now. Time to come back. And my eyes flutter open, and I see the blurry face of a woman. And is she the devil or an angel? And then she comes into focus. And it's Nurse Janet from the ward. Oh shit, I'm alive! And I don't have a broken bone, no concussion, no bleeding, and I feel betrayed. And after this, I'm on 24-hour suicide watch. I am never alone when I eat, when I sleep, when I bathe. And yet, I've never felt more alone. I'm in the art therapy room with a lump of clay. And I hear the door open. This woman about my age walks in. She's got her hair in 2 lopsided braids. And her clothes are on inside out and backwards. And she's gnashing her fingers and she's muttering to herself, and she comes over to me. What are you doing? Ah! Now, Susie, you leave Toni alone now. Now, Toni, that's Susie. She's schizophrenic, but she's a sweetheart. You don't have anything to fear from her. That's Mary Lou. She runs the art therapy room. She's about 45, and she always wears these frilly aprons. And she speaks in this sing-song voice, like she's a cross between Betty Crocker and the movie Oklahoma. And I hate her. So, Toni, what are you going to make with your clay? I don't know. Now, they ask me a lot of questions in the hospital. They ask about my family. Now, both my parents fled Hitler. My mom from Berlin, my dad from Vienna. My dad's only sister escaped at age 14 with a group. But the Nazis caught them, made them dig their own graves, and then killed them. Daddy, did you have a sister? Yes. Well, what was her name? Betty. Well, what was she like? Oh, Toni. Mommy, is Daddy sad? No, he's fine. He's not sad. We never talk about Betty, ever. There's a lot left unsaid and a lot of unexpressed sadness in my home. Only when I ask about it, I'm told I'm imagining it. And I can't talk about it with anybody because I'm told to keep everything in the family. Don't tell anyone, they say when my dad has a heart attack at age 50. Don't tell anyone when my mom has to sign a loyalty oath working at UC Berkeley. Don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone. Now, all this silence and secrecy makes sense when you live under Hitler. But not when you live in California with the Beach Boys playing in the background. And then I leave home for college and the great outside world. You know, that place where I'm not supposed to trust anyone? So I don't. And over time I isolate, and eventually I drop out of college and move home with my family. And I stop returning friends' phone calls because I don't want them to see me like this. And I drift through the days watching Dialing for Dollars on TV. And then my parents go on vacation. And I sit home alone, and I pick at the hairs on my legs, leaving red welts on my skin. And my therapist says, Toni, we need to call your parents. You need help. So the four of us are sitting in his office. Mr. and Mrs. Weingarten, thank you for coming back from vacation. I've seen a marked decline in Toni's cognitive abilities, and she's exhibiting more self-destructive tendencies. I really think she needs hospitalization. That? My daughter in a mental hospital? My dad's on his feet with his fists clenched at his side, and he's facing off with my therapist, who's now also on his feet facing my dad. Are they going to get in a fist fight? Mr. Weingarten, please sit down. Your daughter is ill. My dad sits down, never looking at me. And I just sit staring straight ahead. I'm a package awaiting shipment. Mr. Weingarten, I know it's hard to think of your daughter in a psychiatric hospital, but it's not a reflection on you. She needs more help than seeing me a couple hours a week. My dad. My mom reaches over. Maxie, we need to do this. I just sit staring straight ahead. Shipping of package confirmed. Next stop, psychiatric hospital. I want to die. Don't tell anyone. So after my failed hospital suicide attempt, I see Dr. Heinrichs every day. Now, he's in his early to mid-40s, and he kind of reminds me of an Irish setter puppy. You know, lean and lanky and gangly. And he wears these shoes with rubber soles, and they squeak when he walks. And every day he comes and finds me wherever I am in the hospital. And he always says, "You ready?" And his voice always lilts up, like I'm some important person whose time he wants. "Can you get away now?" And then we go for a 30-minute walk through the orchard for our session. And he does most of the talking. And then he drops me off where he found me. And he always does this little bow from the waist. "Okay then, I'll see you tomorrow." Like he's dropping me off from a date. And then he walks off, squeaking. So we're having a session in the orchard. "So Toni, what would your father say when you asked him if he was sad about his sister?" "Well, he said he wasn't sad." "Yeah, I know, but did you believe him?" "Well, he said he wasn't sad." "Yeah, I know. But what did you feel? I mean, could you feel him being sad?" "Yeah, I guess so." And that's when I understand that I can trust my own feelings and perceptions, even when other people tell me I'm wrong. And for the first time, I feel a connection with Dr. Heinrichs. I mean, like he understands me. And best of all, I don't feel so alone. And it's intoxicating. And for me, connection with Dr. Heinrichs is like heroin. I just want more and more and more of it. Only I can't buy it. I have to work for it. And that means facing the pain of the family. And then Dr. Heinrichs cuts off all contact between me and my parents. No phone calls, no visits, maybe a few letters. And it's great. I mean, for the first time, I feel safe in a place and with people other than my family. And I can trust my own perceptions. And I don't have to see the world the way they see it. Now, the hospital was founded by Mennonites. And a lot of the staff and Dr. Heinrichs are Mennonite. You know, the Mennonites, they're related to the Amish, only they practice psychiatry. "Oh, Toni, honey, you're doing so well. We are so proud of you." And huge arms clasp me towards the gigantic bosom of one of the senior nursing staff. "When you were doing so poorly, we asked our church to pray for you, and God heard us. And look at you now." These are the women I call mammoth Mennonite mamas. And they give me a powerful drug. They give me unconditional love. And they love me well. And my parents, meaning well, had almost loved me to death with their secrecy and denial. So I'm sitting in the art therapy room with a huge mound of clay, and I'm sculpting the face of a lion. "Hey, Mary Lou, what do you think of my lion?" "Ah, gee, Toni, that looks swell." Now I like her attitude.
Yeah.
"So, Robbie, what do you think?" "It's nice." "Do you want to help me?" "No." "Okay, then just keep me company." "Okay." "Hey, Nancy, can I have some more potatoes, please?" I'm in line at the cafeteria, and Bill, another patient who flunked his suicide attempt, is curious about mine. "So, Toni, how'd you try to do yourself in?" Oh, I dove off the roof of this building. But it's only one story high. Gee, Bill, I'm sorry. I had to work with what was available. And then Nancy asked if I want onions with my burger. Yes, please, and I'd like them sauteed. Hey, Toni likes sauteed onions. Toni likes her coffee black. Toni likes vanilla ice cream. You know, a really good vanilla. And it's as though my likes are solidifying me. And I'm becoming a three-dimensional person. And then from the back, Nancy yells, "Hey, I'm making sundaes for dessert. Where are the nuts?" Nancy, we're out here. And then it's time for me to leave the hospital. And I am so scared. I mean, do I tell people I dove off the roof of a building? I mean, just where are the social boundaries? I care very much what people think about me. I want as much connection as I can get. I remember what it was like to feel completely alone. So I go on a retreat with a friend, Cindy. Now, Cindy's really into self-actualization and psychology and understanding human behavior, and she's part of a deep spiritual practice. So I tell her, Cindy, when I was 22, I had a really bad depression. I was in the hospital, and I even tried to kill myself. Oh, did you have a lobotomy? What? I don't think that's funny. Toni, don't take everything so serious. What I want is to take back what I told her. What was I thinking? Which brings me back to being in the car with Dave Christmas Eve on the Golden Gate Bridge. And I wish we would speed up. I mean, the bridge barrier is only a few feet away. And I remember that night on the roof of the hospital. And I can imagine somebody standing on that barrier, looking back at the city lights, taking a deep breath, and then diving into the darkness below. And I just want to feel like I did a few minutes ago, safe and warm in the car, normal. I'm not going to tell Dave tonight. Maybe some other time. But when? When is the right time to tell someone? I mean, the whole reason I decided to do this show was to bring my past into the light. This is my coming out party. Hey, I have an idea. Can we try something? Can we turn the lights up for a sec? Okay, now I want you to turn to a person next to you. Come on, turn to a person next to you. And now tell them your deepest, darkest secret. I get it. It's a risk. Only you know when it's the right time. But when you do tell somebody and it's accepted, and you can be yourself, what a gift. So I'm out for a walk, and I see this woman on the path. And something about her looks so familiar, her gait, her demeanor. Oh my God, it's Susie from the hospital. She hasn't changed in 40 years. And I can tell she's still really ill. And she's muttering to herself, and she's still gnashing her fingers. And the skin on her face is all purple. It must be a side effect from all the medication she's been on. And she's with an adult caretaker. I mean, she never could be alone. She doesn't see me. I'm not going to say anything. I mean, why dig up the past? It's painful. I'm normal now. This is where I want to be. Being normal. But left the hospital, I was fond of Susie. And I could just say hi. No, why go there? And besides, if I don't say anything, nobody's ever going to know. But I'll know. I'll know that I hid from my past. Susie? She turns and looks at me. Susie, it's Toni from Kingsview Hospital. Toni Weingarten. Oh my God. With all the voices she's heard in her head, all the alternate realities, and all the drugs she's been on her entire life, she not only knows my name, she knows my last name. And I don't know hers. And that's when I understand that under her illness is a person on whom I made a lasting impression. Susie? Now this is normal.